It's 9:30. It's called the July 3rd meeting of Monroe County Commission. We'll start with a moment of silence, followed by to start today's meeting with Mr. Parsons, Mr. Rick Parsons from the Terry Group. He's going to make a presentation to the Community Partnership for Gun Safety Strategies. Rick?
Good morning, Commissioners. Thank you for allowing me to join you today. So almost a year ago, Monroe County is engaged on a journey of looking at gun violence in the county. And the final result, I really truly think the county and the commissioners should be really proud of the final product. When I was reached out to join and be part of this project, I was really excited because a lot of the work I do is across the country, in different jurisdictions. Being someone who lives in the adjoining county, it was just great to be able to work in my backyard and really work in an area that I really truly understand and know. And what I love about the approach to this project is because the reality is gun violence, firearms, really so much different feelings for each person. Is your county decided to take an approach of really looking at what does the data tell us, right? A data-driven approach, and also looking at a research-informed approach and seeing what has been working in other counties. Someone identifying what is there a concern, what is the problems in our county, but also then looking at what is the research telling us about the best ways to address things. And just a really strong way to approach this problem. One of the first steps was putting together the community partnership for gun violence, gun safety, sorry. And what was great is we were able to put together over 70 people from all different walks of life across the county to be part of this program and to develop a strategic plan. And the process was very specific and strategic on how we went through this. We first looked at what does the research tell us out there about what is working across the country, even outside the country, by the way, in both cities and in areas similar to Monroe County. We then did a very approach of looking at the data. We did a survey of the community, tons of respondents. We did focus groups. We did interviews. We did discussions. We looked at the crime trends. We looked at the PAYS data. We looked at mental health data. We looked at everything that was available to us to really see what is the data telling us. So early on in this process, we also came up with a mission statement. And the mission statement for the partnership was a mission to save lives and reduce the harm caused by firearms and gun violence in our community through advocacy and partnership that provides education, support, and resources. Some of the quick findings, and I encourage people, there are copies up here of the strategic plan, and there is no way that I can give it justice in my few minutes up here this morning. So I really encourage people to look through this. I believe it's going to be available online, and look through there online so you can really get an understanding of how much work and the reasons why some of these recommendations were made. So just some quick findings. Number one, Monroe County, and we were not surprised by this, at least I was not surprised. When we looked at this number of gun-related violence type crimes in the county, it was lower than the statewide trends, lower than the national average. So that's a great thing, and kind of confirms what a lot of us truly believe. we had a great county. Number two thing though, which was definitely a concern, is when we look at deaths by suicide, the rate of suicides by firearms was significantly higher than a lot of our state averages, national averages, and other similar type counties. We also, again, not surprising, we realized that there was a lot of firearm ownership in Monroe. Again, not a surprise. County has always been known as a place where recreational hunting, firearm use has occurred. And the vast majority of towns are very safe place. But also concerning with that was we also found that a lot of the residents in Monroe County have been exposed to some level of firearm incidents through themselves or through family members or others. There was a lot of concerns that were raised, especially during the focus groups and during the surveys about younger people and them around firearms. I'll be talking about that a little bit on our next steps because we're kind of doing a little bit deeper dive into that. And then the second piece that there was new residents moving in. As most people live in Monroe County know and other surrounding counties, is we've seen a big influx in the last several years of people coming from other jurisdictions. And there was concerns expressed about some of those people coming into the area. And with some of those newer residents, concerns about the number of those newer residents who are seeking permit to concealed carry permits. Last thing I just wanted to point out on some of the findings was there was a really strong support coming from both our focus groups and also in the surveys and in our discussions of providing education, around firearms. And some of those, vast majority of that would be voluntary. So making sure that people are aware of what's happening. When you read through the strategic plan, you'll find that there's 4 broad goals and objectives that we identified, or the group identified, and was really the target of the strategic plan. The first goal was to foster and maintain firearm safety among current owners. Again, we know there's lots of individuals who own firearms in Monroe County, and the vast majority handle those safely. But how can we do maybe a better job of educating people about firearm safety? Around safe handling, storage, and also maybe about some of the specific laws around concealed permit carry. And we saw lots of different nexus points, right? Where we could maybe increase the number of safety, or maybe when people are purchasing firearms, or when they are getting a concealed permit carry. Okay? There was also opportunities to collaborate with current gun clubs, gun dealers, stores, and trying to increase the level of training and information that is out there. Again, most of this, if not all, would be voluntary. I think that's very key. The second thing was decreasing the nexus between mental health and firearm-related incidents. Again, our research truly found that unfortunately there is a high correlation between suicide and firearms. And how can we break that or reduce that by making sure that, number one, people know about the resources that are out there, and then number 2 is making sure that we educate people about what are the signs and symptoms of someone who is at risk of possibly harming themselves. The third goal, was to foster and maintain firearm safety among youth. What are some things we can do to increase education around firearm safety and storage? A lot of times, I have firearms in my house, and my kids have understood the safety of the firearms in the house. What was supposed to happen? What was not supposed to happen around those firearms? A lot of times we have people visiting, right, our houses, or children who are going to other houses who don't have that knowledge. how can we increase that $100 so we can make sure we don't have horrendous incidents. And then the fourth and final goal was we did find that there were certain pockets of the community where there was a higher prevalence of gun-related incidents. So what are some things that we can do in those neighborhoods to reduce those number of incidents? You know, and that might include stuff like partnerships between, you know, the county and some of those communities, maybe doing town hall type meetings, maybe making sure that resources, that people are aware of resources. Maybe that also looks at the law enforcement side of how can we improve maybe some of those relationships between law enforcement and security, you know, in some of those areas. I truly am very proud of how this document came out. And one thing that I think was so important was that there was really an emphasis on coming up with realistic and data-driven, research-informed, you know, actionable recommendations that is something that can be done for everyone. One of the last things I just want to talk before I conclude is that one of the things, you know, I mentioned about this is that there was a lot of concerns raised about youth. And so one of the things that the peer group has been asked to help with is maybe getting a better understanding. Because what we found in the data was through our focus groups and surveys, there was a lot of people expressed concerns, but we didn't necessarily have the data to really either support or refute that there's a concern with youth. So part of our project moving forward is going to be doing a little deeper dive into the youth. And our hope is to be able to do some surveys with youth, doing some focus groups with youth, and also with people that work with youth at different various stages. And then also doing a deeper dive with some other available data that we didn't look at in the regional assessment. So again, I want to thank the commissioners and amazing great manager for reaching out to us and allowing us to participate in this, in development of this. Thank you.
Jennifer?
May I ask a question, sir?
Yes.
In the beginning, you expressed concerns of people coming in to our county. Is that concern because we easily give carrying permits, or what does that concern consist of?
So it wasn't that there was a concern about if we easily or don't easily, because that is driven by state law, right? And the county has no control over that. Mm-hmm. You know, and every state is a little different on what are the requirements and what happens. So that did come up in some of the discussions. But I think it was just more of people coming into the county who may not have had the same history around firearms, right? You know, one of our focus groups we did was even in the jail, by the way. And some of them raised, like, you know, some of the people that they know in the jail have never been around a firearm, you know, other than what's on the street. So it was more concerns about their exposure in the past.
Thank you.
Yep. You're welcome. Sorry, Thomas. Hard when you got someone asking a question behind you.
I just want to take a moment and tell you that our funding for the community partnership for gun safety strategic plan that was given to us by the Pennsylvania Commission on Crime and Delinquency. We received $50,000 in grants from the strategic plan, and I am happy to say that we're just about to be awarded $695,286 over the next 3 years to implement violence prevention grant, which will be following the objectives and activities that are outlined in the strategic plan. And the strategic plan will set us up for this next $695,000, which is a huge investment into our community around education, advocacy, and youth assessment that we're starting in our crisis intervention team, which is just been implemented.
Jennifer, just a couple of questions. I'm so glad you did. How many counties in the state of Pennsylvania have received such grants? In other words, I think we're one of the only ones, right? In other words, who else has done the strategic plan?
So I'm
I
not,
mean,
I'm not certain how many.
Okay.
Yeah.
For the specific strategic plan that we did for this,
Right.
not related to the new grant.
Right.
We were the only county, according to PCCD, we were the only county in Delaware that did strategic plan is targeted, is data driven, is research across the county based on previous numbers.
One of those that have been around, we do an awful lot of work with the pay study. And we've had a couple of questions with regard to guns and gun safety. It's my understanding that they are going to phase those questions out for more mental health. But I think what we have done here and will continue to do, hopefully will bring that emphasis back in. I think it is together. You know, I don't think that you can just one off, gun safety. I think it's a very important, especially if you look across the state.
Education Department, partnership, partnership with Education Department, and year assessment that all the schools do across the state, so that is across the state. That's a great way to start to get information. People do work.
So one of the concerns with that was that the case study is already so long, and there only are 2 questions about guns on the case study. What we're doing is really expanding that, really focusing on the issue of guns and guns. I think it's something, a lot of research out there.
But great place to start, though.
It's a great place to start.
The pay standard was definitely very helpful.
Yeah.
Right.
2 questions that were on there.
that we get through the local school districts.
Yeah, those 2 questions and how they correlate with other questions about bullying, things happening at the home, they felt threatened in school and stuff like that. Those questions and being able to correlate those questions together were huge help for us to kind of do a deeper dive.
And I would also say thanks to the Carey Group because they brought in Rutgers University, and Rutgers University did the research behind this. And as part of this next portion, we have the potential possibility of partnering with Rutgers on the evaluation piece of our next thing, and that is amazing to have that opportunity for where they're also going to invest money into our programs that are happening here in Monroe County. And I'd like to thank the DA's office because without the DA's office, allowing us to bring this.
Thank you, Jennifer. Are there any other questions? Okay. Public comment on agenda items only. Seeing none. Next motion is to amend 2024-201 dated 6/2024 to change the capital purchase report to surrogate $41,652.70 to Seedings, Inc. The totals remain the same. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second?
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Amend motion 2024-201 dated 6/2024 to correct the amount of refrigerators for the correctional facility from $2,421 to $2,097, a decrease of $387. Is there a motion? That's the amount, not the number of refrigerators.
So moved. That's $2,481.
To $2,097.
Correct. Mm-hmm. So
Second.
moved.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Motion carries. Amend motion 2024-200 dated 6/2024, increasing the PA State Police 2425 automobile theft motor vehicle insurance fraud grant by $3,678.55 to the total grant amount of $134,010.55. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion carries. Ratify the opening of the Monroe County parking garage maintenance bids as follows. This is just to ratify the opening. We have not accepted the bids at this time, or awarded the bids at this time.
And defer action.
And we'll defer action to the next meeting. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion carries. Approve the minutes of the June 20th, 2024 Commissioners meeting. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Proclamations and certificates. David Jakunski, or Janinski, or
Motion to approve.
Second.
all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion carries. New business, personnel. Item number 1, A and B, approve the agenda and ratify overtime in the sheriff's office. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion carries. New business, electronic financial transactions, A and B. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion carries. Travel authorization. Authorize and approve travel for assessment and vector control. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion carries. Area Agency on Aging. Approve the following contract addendum agreements for July 1st, 2024 through June 30th of 2025. We have 8 of them. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any questions? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion carries. Children and Youth. Execute a purchase service agreement for the period of July 1st, 2024 through June 30th of 2025 with County of Chester, Kids Peace, and Kids Peace National Centers, Kids Peace Hospital and Kids Peace National Centers, and execute a purchase agreement for Bucks County with those limits. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Commissioner's Office. Ratify the budget adjustment report dated 6/20/24 totaling $479,054. That budget adjustment $384,100 or 96.5% is for children and youth. Approve the budget adjustment report of 6/28 totaling $453,371. That budget adjustment, 98.2% is comprised of CSBG installment for $233,710, opioid settlement funds of $155,000, maintenance of $32,643 for elevator maintenance in the new courthouse, commissioners for $17,500 for dam dive inspections. We have 2 dams that have to have a diver inspect them, and grants for HSDF for an additional allocation of $10,000. C, approve the agreement for Strausser's Nature's Helpers lawn care for the amount of $980 for mowing at Goose Pond Dam for $700 and mowing at Leverett Branch Dam per recommendation of the county engineer. Authorize the submittal of non-conforming use application to the Borough of Stroudsburg for the property at 528 Thomas Street from the amount of $100. Accept proposal of Marion Hill Associates and recommendation of RKR Hess, Division of UTRS of the Levitt Branch Dam Diver for outlet drawdown system inspection and removal of small debris for a total of $8,750. Execute the agreement of Aero Engineering for the amount of $82,500 for the design and bidding of the water system at Monroe County Correctional Facility and PVM. Approve the agreement of Brightly Software for scheduling software creation and support in the amount of $35,569.36. Authorize the chief clerk to advertise the following bids: inmate food services, inmate phone and technology, and add the following vendors to the county list of approved vendors under the Commissioner's Office, Marion Hill Associates. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Yes, Deb?
Never mind, my agenda was wrong.
Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion carries. Moving on to the correctional facility, approve the contract addendum for Prime Care Medical to adjust invoices to reflect a monthly cost of $245,375.62 for comprehensive care healthcare services and $4,518 for DUI center costs. The contracted total amount, monthly dollar rate, and total contract costs for all other terms of the agreement not inconsistent with the addendum shall remain in full effect.
So
Is there a
moved.
motion? Thank you, David. Second?
Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion carries. Grants. Ratify authorization of the grants manager, Jennifer Strock, to electronically submit the fiscal year 24 County Reentry Strategic Plan Grant for the period of October 1st, 2024 to September 30th, 2025, totaling $14,893. And ratify submittal of the PA Department of Community and Economic Development as following. Regarding the 2021 CDBG program ending in 274, and acknowledge receipt of acceptance of the correction to the PA DCED. And regarding 2023 CSBG program ending in 258, and the 2020-2023 ESG grant ending in 269, and acknowledge receipt of the acceptance of the correction of PA DCED. Is there a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
Second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Monroe County Transit Authority, approve the medical assistant subrecipient monitoring contract with MCTA to provide medical assistance transportation services at a rate of $22.66 per trip for the period of July 1st, 2024 through June 30th of 2025. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion carries. Probation Department. Approve Amendment 1 with the University of Cincinnati Research Institute, extending training period through September 30th, 2024 due to scheduling issues, and approve the application for use of facilities with Pocono Mountain School District for PEC training for the 2024-2025 school year. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second? Excellent. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Redevelopment Authority. Execute subrecipient agreement by and between the County of Monroe and the Redevelopment Authority for fiscal year 23 CDBG program totaling $675,168. Contract ending in 590. Monroe County, $1,473. Stroudsburg Borough, $116,010. And East Stroudsburg Borough, $157,685. An approved Act 152 demolition grant application with Smithfield Township totaling $40,000 for the property at 274 Marshalls Creek Road. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Capital outlay purchases. Approved capital purchase on 6/28/2024 totaling $2,987.61. These are 3 bulletproof vests for the probation department. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion carries. Ratify the computer capital purchase report dated 6/25/24 totaling $911.14. This is a scanner for the register and recorder and a printer for children and youth. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Miscellaneous. I will just start by asking someone to stand up for me, please, who is wearing a blue dress. Jennifer Strock is leaving us, and she is going to the Redevelopment Authority as their executive director. And she will then be dealing with the CDBG programs that go back till 2020. And we will have her coming here and making her presentations. So please come back and look forward to her reports, and we'd like to thank Jennifer. She has been a godsend to the county since she's been here, and we appreciate all that you've done. Jennifer, thank you. Is there any other miscellaneous? David? Karen? Kate? I know you had something.
I do have something. I am Kate Best. I'm the Register of Wills and Recorder of Deeds.
You have to, Kate, excuse me. You gotta go there.
I get away with it.
Because people away from us can't hear if you can't hear.
My name is Kate Best. I'm the Register of Wills and Recorder of Deeds in Monroe County. You may have seen on the news or in the newspaper that there is an alert for deed fraud going on. It is not really something we need to be concerned about in Monroe County right now. There's been a few in the past, but we do have a program. It's been in place since August of last year. It is the Record Alert Service. It is free to homeowners. You can go online. Our webmaster nicely put it right on the front page of the county website. I also did an instructional video on how you can complete the application, and then should something come across our desk be recorded with your name on it, you will get a text or an email, and then if you did buy a house or refinance your mortgage, you'll go, yes, that is correct. And if you didn't, then you can call us and we will call the district attorney's office and we can figure out what's going on. So I did leave flyers over here. As again, it's on the front page of the website, and there's a QR code on the flyers that you can scan to get right to the application. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Jack?
Have to go up there?
Please. Just state your name for the record there.
Know who I am.
Yeah, but everybody else doesn't.
Jack Fawcett. Back on the Boundary Street Bridge
Mhm.
and what has transpired since then. Of course, we had the issue with my kitchen, and everything. I want to publicly thank Dave, my glasses, leave them there. You came out and took the time to see what the issues were. You gave me, contacted some people. And of course, the contractor denied. The state denied. So I got my insurance company involved and they're handling. But as a citizen, I shouldn't have to resolve my problems that were caused by the contractor on a county project. As far as that goes, the water situation, I asked about having water tested, and they said, we'll only test it if there's a problem. I think that's after the fact. Well, guess what? I do have a problem. The water turned black, it stunk. And I just had to put a $3,300 water purifying system in my house. I had a 4-month-old kid, my grandson in the house, couldn't even give him a bath because of all the bacteria that was in the water. I shouldn't have to do this. All right? I got the time and I got the money to fight it, and I will. But I shouldn't have to. We'd like to get the socks, the erosion socks taken off the property, if they're done with them. Nice signage that you put up and everything, it's all been tagged already. Graffiti. Welcome to the neighborhood. The drain up on Pencil Creek, nice and big, but it's still an issue. I had to go out in the last storm and clean it so it didn't affect my property as usual. All right? I shouldn't have to do this. And John, my wife, had sent a letter back in October, and I was waiting for a response.
Very good. Thank you, Jack.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
A quick question.
Sure.
Gentlemen, as far as the suicide rate, being veterans, how many of them are veterans?
I do not know the exact number, but that's definitely a concern,
Yeah.
not only in Monroe County, but across the country.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so that's one.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you.
Thank you, Dave. Damn glasses.
I got it.
Please state your name.
My name is Teresa Peck. So a lot of people were busy looking at the debates last week. The Supreme Court declared Chevron deference was overruled. So that was in 1984. The court said that if there's a question in the law, the courts are required to defer administrative agency. The administrative agency, the federal agency, to fill in the gaps if the law does not specifically state what's needed. So in other words, if the laws were ambiguous, laws by Congress were ambiguous, the federal agencies were allowed to fill in the gaps. Because it was determined that their expertise in the subject matter did not equal what Congress meant. So these are unelected people that were determining what was going to happen, whether it be with the EPA, with the whole COVID pandemic, and then it even happens with our elections. So the power from the federal agencies who are not elected by the people, and therefore they're unaccountable. Congress delegated power to the agencies, perhaps so the agency could look like the bad guy. We don't know. But the power is not from Congress. The power not from Congress, but Congress is required to do their constitutional duty. And they have their constitutional powers to write the laws. Congress, people in our government are representatives of the American people, not agencies looking out for their own best interests. And when people say, well, how can Congress determine what's the best thing for, like, say, with the EPA or the IRS or with elections? Well, people in Congress, they have their researchers, they have their assistants, and unfortunately, they still have their lobbyists to help them determine what they want to do. So with that said, I'd like to state from the Election Assistance Commission, so that's the EAC.gov website, the United States Election Assistance Commission. So this goes back to with federal agencies having so much power. So in the EAC.gov, it shows how the American Help America Vote Act, HAVA, of 2002 was passed by the U.S. Congress. But before that, it all began with Congress creating the National Clearinghouse in 1971. So my point of saying that is that, of course, it goes back before 1971, where Congress started being lax about the laws they were creating, about how ambiguous some of the laws are, but the EAC only goes back to 1971 on their website, and then 2002, and 2002 with HAVA creating the EAC. So the EAC determines the certifications for election machines across the country. Well, the EAC standards are outdated for anywhere from 10 to 20 years for all the elections across the country. So I just like to continue on with NBC News.
Teresa,
Yes.
you know you have your 3-minute rule.
Can I go for 30 more seconds?
How about 15?
Okay, we'll see how far I get. Thank you. Eddie Perez, Global Director of Technology Development for the Open Source Election Technology Institute, which is a nonprofit organization, said there are still shrouds of secrecy about voting machine companies. And this goes to show how vendors praise Congress for its recent appropriations of $425 million and additional spending to the Federal Election Assistance Commission, that's the EAC. And it just goes to show that they don't resolve things, they don't increase their standards, but yet the government still keeps on funding them.
Thank you, Teresa. Anybody else? Yes, sir. Please come up and state your name.
Hi, good morning, Board of Commissioners and community members. My name is Kenneth Ramirez, and I'm the founder and executive director of Justin's House, which is the first Pennsylvania state licensed recovery home. And I'm happy to say that we bought that license home to Monroe County first. I'm here today because we've been experiencing some challenges with some of our clients who have opioid use disorders and other addictions. With transportation, we're a facility that's in a rural area, and it's really presenting some challenges for our clients to be able to access treatment, employment, get to medical appointments, to 12-step meetings, AA, NA, and smart recovery. And it's a lot of stress on the clients that have to worry about all of that when they're coming out of an inpatient treatment facility, and they're in early recovery, to have to worry about the pressures to try to make it to resources and activities that's going to help them sustain their recovery. You know, we believe that every life matters, and just because we're a treatment center in a rural area, you know, these guys should be able to have the same access as anybody else. And I just wanted to read a quick article about transportation considerations when implementing an SUD treatment program. Rural communities face greater transportation barriers than urban communities, including fewer public transportation options, which can make finding transportation services a difficult process. Due to the shortages of behavioral health providers and facilities in rural areas, patients often travel great distances, often to neighboring counties, to access treatment services. A Yale School of Medicine study found that individuals residing in rural counties experience longer transportation time to opioid treatment programs than residents in urban counties. Travel time to substance use disorder treatment may have serious implications for treatment and recovery. Research shows that shorter travel distances are associated with longer stays in treatment programs and greater completion rates. Additionally, people who need to seek care may not have a driver's license or may not be able to transport themselves to treatment. Transportation services may help support rural SUD treatment programs. You know, we're here today is because I want to ask the county and the commissioners board for support with providing transportation for Justin's House. And I'm also a person in long-term recovery. I celebrate 15 miracle years clean today. And I'm sharing that because I've been through it and I've experienced it. And I'm speaking from an expert place as a person in long-term, also an administrator of a program now trying to help other folks gain recovery, change their lives. But with that, I have 3 residents here from Justin's House who would like to say a few words to the Commissioners Board and community for themselves.
Real quick, do you have a website?
Yes, to provide that information. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Giacomo Pashota. I'm president at Justin's House. I'm in long-term recovery myself, 34 years old. I'm an ex-convict, reformed. I'm currently working at Pyramid Healthcare as a BHT, providing early recovery treatment for people in addiction. I know myself, not being able to get back and forth to work because I don't have a vehicle is very stressful. and it brings upon what we call the burning desire to use when we get really stressed out, because that's what we know. We're back to old thoughts and thought processes. And in order to de-stress, we revert back to old ways. That's the addict mentality. Now, in order to get to NA meetings and AA meetings and where we're at, we're going to need transportation, work to medical appointments, anything like that is gonna require transportation for the house, because there's only a limited people in the house that have licenses, and but we all need to get to where we need to get to in order to stay in recovery, get the support systems we need, and maintain our sobriety. So with that, I say I humbly request that you guys grant help to us for transportation, because it would help all the residents within the house and future residents within the house to maintain their sobriety and continue to be productive members of society. Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is William Sylvia. I am a resident at Justin's house. We do recover. I'm a recovering alcoholic. I haven't had a drink in 25 years. You know, but for the grace of God. But life is life. 2 years ago, I was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer. The doctors gave me 90 days to live, and they suggested that I put together a will, do what I had, make sure my affairs were put together. So I sold my house in Monroe County here, took care of the wife, took care of the kids, and, you know, I was ready to accept my fate, as they say. Well, here I am 2 years later. I'm 65 years old, and I'm starting again. I contacted Kenny, and immediately he put his professional skills to use to me. He de-escalated me. He told me, you know something, Bill, it's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. I met the other partner, I call her Miss Kathy, and I sat down with her and I explained my situation to them. And they opened up their doors to me, and they fed me. They gave me a bed. You know, I'm forever grateful for that. I, at the point, other than Doc who just came in, are the only 2 licensed drivers in the house. I'm the only one with a vehicle. And, you know, as best as I can do, I try to help my brothers out in the house to get to Walmart, get to all these places. But if we had a van, we could do so much more. We can use the job link down in Tannersville to our advantage. You know, we can make productive members of society out of the people that are coming through our doors. You know, and I'd like to thank you commissioners for your time. I have been a resident here for 40 years. I've owned 2 houses here, so, you know, I have the right to vote, as they say. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Yes, sir.
Hello, everybody. My name is Andrew. Today I'm a grateful recovery addict. And I thank you for everybody for your time and all that. You know, somebody told me recently that there's a sign on one of the Pennsylvania state signs that says, "State of Pennsylvania, welcome to the state of new beginnings." Me, I'm originally from New York, upstate New York, and I recently came down here to have that new beginning. And I was gratefully given a place to stay, Justin's house. And today, I want to be that productive member of society, but it is hard. It's hard to live in a rural area and get to job interviews, get to doctor's appointments, and all those other things. Would normally be easily accessible in a more urban area. But hopefully, with your guys' discretion, you can get some help with that. That's all I have to say.
Thank you. Anybody else? Yes. Please state your name for the record.
Hi, I'm I'm Samantha Holborn, and I'm the Executive Director of the Community Foundation. I am here because of Justin's house today. I have been fortunate enough to live at the house, and I've also been talking to other small businesses that were created by individuals in the county as LLCs because they're easier and less expensive than creating as a 501c profit. And so therefore, they start these businesses with their own money, and they may not have a lot of that to start off with. And they're not really eligible to receive donations or grants, et cetera, because they don't have the nonprofit status. That is something the Community Foundation is helping with in creating non-endowed funds, which means it's a pass-through fund. And so Justin's House has created that with us. So we have a donation link on our website to Justin's House, and we have received donations already. It also allows governmental entities to grant money for certain purposes that are charitable to be used, funneled through our program. So I certainly have been finding that transportation, as you know, is an issue. But I am just learning in my capacity now how many people start these small businesses and they're doing charitable work, but it's easier to start the LLC than the nonprofit. So they have a hard time having access to money. So that's someplace the Community Foundation is looking to help. And so I'm just saying to you that they are now open to receiving any kind of financial assistance from the county that we're able to provide. And we would have the fiduciary responsibility of handling it and determining that it's a charitable cause, et cetera. So thank you for hosting us.
Thank you. Anybody else?
One more.
Mike Mancuso, District Attorney.
It's a pleasure meeting you, Mike.
I wasn't going to say anything until Justin's house came up, because I thought the timing's incredible.
Yeah.
We're on the cusp, right, Kwanzaa?
Yes.
Of putting together a reentry grant study to determine the biggest problems with avoiding recidivism for people returning back into the community who have been placed on probation or parole. Transportation is among the top 3 major problems for county reentrants. It's very similar to what I just heard. So we're talking about potential voucher systems, an app for a cab company, maybe to pick you up, maybe providing passenger vans, that sort of thing. Is getting people to work, getting them into treatment, meet appointments. In this community, really puts a strain on the individual. So much so that the wonderful services of the Strive reentry program for state inmates that's housed in Lackawanna County had tried unsuccessfully to extend it to Monroe because of this transportation difficulty. So it's a good time to pool resources and ideas and brainstorm this, but I'm 100% in support of that, and of course would lend the authority of the DA's office, the grant application process, the Criminal Justice Advisory Board, in which I'm vice chair. We're in the midst of creating this reentry program to avoid recidivism and get people the treatment they need. That's all I wanted to say.
Thank you, Michael. Is there anything else?
Mr. Chairman, if I could just say thank you to Justin for coming down and the gentleman for, expressing the need for transportation. It's definitely come up in the few meetings I've had when we had the Secretary of DDAP from the state come to the area, and we had a roundtable about it. That was the issue, and that's how I found out about your house, and got to visit it and see what great work you're doing. And I'm hopeful we can work together as commissioners and find a way to help facilitate the transportation needs.
Thank you.
There's nothing else? Can I have a motion?
So moved.
We're adjourned. Thank you.
No.